Hello, I am with Seed System Solution, and in this video, I will show you the process of creating finance charges for a customer. If you do not see any of the options that I reference in this video, please contact an admin user within your organization for assistance. Finance charges can be run for any invoice or debit memo that does not have payments applied against it and are by default more than 30 days overdue. Before you can create finance charge memos, you do need to do a couple of account setup pieces. The first is to go to your product list, which can be found under your main menu. And then you will need to create a product that has some sort of item name labeled as finance charge or customer charge, accounting charge, any of that aspect. You can add a class that can be used for filtering later on, or you can leave the class blank. You do need to have the receive to inventory box unchecked. It will cause issues if it is checked, so uncheck the receive to inventory box. And then if you are using the chart of accounts, you do need to set up the sales, credit, and debit memo account, as well as it will require you to enter a purchase account. Likely this will never be used on a bill, but it will have you enter in that account before you can continue. So from there, we're going to navigate over to System Settings, Advanced Settings. On the Miscellaneous tab, there's these finance charge settings. First, you're going to need to enter that product ID number from your product list for your finance charge product. Then you'll want to enter your percentage. This does need to be done in decimal format. By default, 18% yearly finance charge is what is charged in the United States. That breaks down to 1.5% per month. You can set your terms based on your terms that you have set up. Most likely it's set to due upon receipt, but it could be something like net zero, or if you wanted to give your customers more of a buffer, you can change your terms. Finance charge default department is just if you wanted to override and not use any department on the customer, you can enter it here. As I said before, the default charge after days is 30 days past due. If you wanted to override that amount, you could enter anything up to 1 day past due, and then the charges would calculate based on that date. Again, by default, it is 30 days past due when charges will begin to calculate. Another default that we do is we create one finance charge per customer that has past due accounts. If you select this setting here, it is going to charge them one finance charge per booking year or reporting year that they have charges in. So if they have charges in, say, 2025, 2024, and 2023 that are all past due, this would create one memo per year, and it would show up on the detail page underneath that year. Otherwise, by default, it's going to just create one finance charge memo for the customer, and it will be in the most recent or default booking year. The next setting is no finance charge on finance charge memos. By default, we would charge on any debit memo that is past due. If you select this checkbox, it would not calculate any new finance charges on previous finance charge memos that were created. So those won't add into their total. Okay, those are the setup pieces. So next we're going to go into the finance charge report. So that's going to be found under reports. It may be found under customer and receivables or the accounting modules for reports. And then it should be named finance charges. You're going to open up the filter. You can narrow your filtering down. Otherwise, you just can enter in an as of date. Some things to note is if your as of date, if a payment is entered and applied after your as of date, those invoices are still going to show on this report as open if they were open as of the date you ran this report on. So this example is September or April 11th. If I entered a payment with a payment date of April 12th and applied it, it's still going to show up because as of April 11th, those were not closed. They were still open invoices. Some other things to note here is if your due date is less than 30 days past due or whatever setting you entered, they will not show up on this report. So if I had something that was due March 15th, it would not be on this report because that's not 30 days past due. In addition, that if a customer has a payment on their account that has not been applied to invoices, so say their statement is reflecting $0, but they're still showing up as charges here, it's likely because they have a credit that has not been applied. If the invoice or debit memo has no payments applied or not enough payments applied against, it is going to show in this list. So this is strictly based on payments being applied, not overall account balance. To assess finance charges, you are going to select the list of customers that you want to assess by selecting either the assess checkbox. In the hamburger menu, you can select assess and it'll assess for all of them. Or you can override the amount by clicking on the override finance charge box. It will pop up the suggested amount. You can enter in a new total. When you press OK, it will enter that total into the override finance charge amount and automatically check the assess button. Once you have assessed the charges, you can open up the hamburger menu again and you will select assess. Again, by default, it is going to create one credit memo per customer in the default year with the date on the memo with the as of date that you ran these finance charges as of. If you set those settings to be one per year, then it would create one memo per year that was due. It will not prompt you to print these, but they can be seen on statements or under the customer detail page to print individual memos. If you run your statement date needs to be equal to or greater than the finance charge date that you ran here. So if I ran statements today as of April 1st, and I ran my finance charges on April 11th, those finance charges would not show because April 11th is after April 1st. To leave your finance charges, you would just click the back logo and it's going to take you back to the main menu. If you have any questions about this process or Seed System Solution in general, please reference our other training videos, email us at grow@seedsystem.co, or register for one of our free monthly Seed System Support Zoom meetings.